Welcome to the Jefatona podcast. I am your host, Delilah D. This is the place where women can explore what it means to be successful without leaving any part of themselves or their culture behind. In each episode, we talk ambition, we talk expression, and evolution on our own terms. Baby, it is time to get into the episode.
Damn, bitch. Yeah. No.
We are now rolling. Anything you say now will be used against you.
Okay.
This is rolling right
Yeah.
It is.
We're all good.
Yeah, you're rolling. We've been rolling for a minute.
All right, everyone.
So,
Thank you.
Also, Florida shot. I love the fact that in it just says money.
Yeah.
Yes. That's the only type of energy we have for Gloria.
Period,
Okay.
period, yes.
Money.
Yes.
It's giving abundance. It's giving
bags.
It's giving bags.
Giving
bags
wealth.
upon bags.
Bags above bags.
Independently wealthy.
Yes.
Fucking recording.
It's great. It's great.
This is us. This is how we are.
This is what you get. I feel like I need to find a voice. You have like a...
Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in for yet another episode of Jefatona podcast.
I cannot do that. I cannot. You know, you
Yeah,
can...
what if I do the entire episode like this?
It's
So sassy.
it's other.
It's other.
It's the tethered from us.
Oh,
That's what you're giving.
Yes.
Yes.
Or like, is that a scary movie?
There's another scary movie when they're like,
Careful that if you open
I do remember
we're
that.
just gonna keep all of this in. Like, this is the episode. This is, yeah. We're gonna keep all of this footage, y'all.
This is an ad for sex.
This is an ad for.
Rolling paper.
Rolling papers.
Also, I've been told.
I am literally freaking out my producer right now because she's trying to get this episode recorded, but
She's going back and forth with some headphones.
I was gonna do a proper introduction and everything, but I'm totally okay with keeping this introduction as is because this is me, this is us, this is yet another episode of the Jefatona podcast. All the chaos and everything, but getting right into it. I think I heard it in my
the Red
mouth
Bull.
now. I heard it.
Yeah.
I heard it.
Yeah, it was like Pop Rocks. That shit was mad loud, bro.
Yeah, I be stressing my producer out, y'all. I'm so sorry. Anyway, I do want to forewarn anyone that's listening. I may or may not be burping. I got yelled at by Issa because I'm drinking some Celsius right now, and I completely forgot that it's completely carbonated. So if I let out a burp or two during this episode, I apologize in advance. But you know what? It's a safe space here, and if it makes you uncomfortable, then maybe stop listening. But don't stop listening because it's gonna be an amazing time.
Yes.
All right. Now for the official introduction. Wow. Okay, now I can't stop hearing it. So,
there's water right next
I know. No. This is how this episode started. It's so chaotic. No,
I love chaos, though.
I do too. I do. Chaos just makes life so much more fun. But so Issa had told me because I was drinking Red Bull for the last week's episode. And I can't stop hearing it now. And so she tells me, like, Delilah, I need you to drink water in between because I can hear the Red Bull in your teeth. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I can hear the Red Bull in your teeth. And she's like, yeah, every time when you're like drinking your saliva, that's because you're dehydrated. I'm like, oh, I've never heard that before. She's like, we were all like, Red Bull in your teeth, you can hear that. But, this is what she does for a living. So she knows
have to
what
trust
audio,
her.
audio
Yes.
sounds good or not. But
She knows what teeth sound like.
yeah.
She's very specific.
She knows what saliva sounds like, what type of saliva. She's like, I can tell when you've been drinking Coca-Cola, you've been drinking Red Bull, you've been drinking. I'm like,
Yo,
what?
you're going to be a scary ass parent.
I have to like shove a microphone in their face.
That is hilarious.
It'll work though.
Okay, so this has been like probably like a 5-minute intro happening right now,
Yes.
but I am so excited to have Gloria here, my favorite affirming baddie Dominican from the Bronx.
From the Bronx.
With that Aries energy.
Yes.
Let's
Aries
go.
goddess. I've been called before.
You are a goddess indeed. You know, we
Yes.
got what necklaces we got on today? We got the Blessed, we got an Afro Latina.
Yes, and then amethyst.
We are here for it. So let's talk a little bit about, actually, we're going to go into how we met.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Which is
Yes.
funny because, like, you like to say you're an introvert, but we're not going to claim that for you because you're stepping out of your comfort zone little by little.
But I can still be an introvert, right? I feel like people think like introvert and it's like, oh, I don't want to talk to nobody. It's just that I need more time to recharge after being with people or like being in large groups of people. Like
That's true.
my daughter's an extrovert. She loves being outside. She
I love
loves
your
being
daughter.
in groups of people.
I'm her fan. Like,
Yeah.
I want to be her friend.
You
Your daughter's
are.
listening right now, but I want to like be her friend.
Okay, then do
Like how
it.
you're my friend, I want to be her friend.
You got her
too.
phone
Like,
number? Call her up.
FaceTime her like, girl, what you doing?
She would love that.
You was talking to her last night, and I'm like, I want to talk to her too. Yo, her daughter is so cool. She's about to go off to college right now. We'll get into that story, but okay, we're all over the place, and that's totally okay because this is us, you know, a little bit chaotic. All right, the day our love story began.
Yes.
It was, I don't know what day it was, but it was in 2018.
Yes.
It was in 2018.
2018.
It was in the beautiful streets of San Francisco. I was a speaker at the Latinx and Tech Fest in San Francisco. It was my first time being a keynote speaker, and it was so cool because I was freaking out prior to the trip there because I felt like, I mean, this is a whole other podcast for another day, but the way my imposter syndrome was just like kicking in, I didn't feel like I was worthy enough to be a speaker at that event because, realistically speaking, during that time, I was financially struggling, I was mentally struggling, I was emotionally struggling. I was going through a lot during that time. I was just like, starting off my business, trying to figure out what I'm doing with my life, but shout out to the team behind LTX and Tech. They believed in me. They saw like my passion. They wanted to hear my story. And then to be speaking in a room filled with so many amazing Latinos in the tech space.
Yeah.
And I'm like, do I even belong in rooms like this? But
Absolutely.
I was a speaker at that event. And I know after the event was over, there was like a block party that was happening or something. I was just like walking around the block because that's not my hood, that's not my area, and I was just like trying to make friends. And you came up to me and you were like, "Hi, I'm Gloria."
Yes. I was like, hi, I think I know you from somewhere. And you're like,
Oh
what?
yeah.
And
Wait,
you're
so
like,
did you really think, or was that just a conversation starter?
So this conversation starter, and I was like probably also low key hitting on you.
Oh, there's that.
Yeah. Which I confessed later, and you were like, what?
Wait,
I
did
was
you?
like, I did.
I don't remember that.
It was like 2 years ago or something.
That is
Yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh, now you're trying to be blush right now too. But we're amazing friends, and I'm so happy you're in my life. So.
Likewise.
I
No,
know.
I'm so glad I just like go talk to her. Because back to me being introverted.
Yeah.
Like I didn't know anyone at LTX.
Yeah.
And
We were
I
just
was
East
there.
Coast queens taking over the West Coast.
Yes. I was there on it like when I was still doing freelance writing full time.
Yeah.
And so I was covering the event for a Latino publication.
Okay.
And I was like, I had to go talk to people because I'm like, bitch, they don't flew you out here. Cover this event. You gotta
Like,
talk to some people. And I was like, let me just go talk to that bitch because she just talked to the whole room, so she gonna talk to me. And it worked. Yeah, it
look at us
worked.
here, 2018, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23.
Yeah, get the count.
6 years later.
6 years later.
I'm not that great with math, so.
Me either. I do.
Yeah,
I do
was just,
words
for those that are listening, not seeing, I was just counting with my fingers, so. 1, 2,
all the
3,
time.
4, 5. Okay. No, so yeah, that's where our love story began, and I know we started following each other from there. And yeah, you were like, I'm a writer, I do this, I do that, and then you were like, oh, I'm from New York, and I'm like, oh, I'm from Philly, I'm gonna hop and skip away from you.
Yes.
And so we started following each other then, and just kind of been a part of each other's journeys.
Yes.
Then. It's so crazy how much has happened.
So much. So much has happened.
What's so funny? We always joke around. So Gloria's like this girl, like, don't fuck with me. Like she's a typical Dominican from the Bronx. Like she's tough, but she's so lovey-dovey underneath. Even though she doesn't want to admit it, you're such a like, oh, I just want to squeeze you. I just want to pinch you.
That's what I needed when I first introduced myself to you.
I hugged you. I hugged you.
You probably did.
Yeah,
You
I
hug
hug everyone.
everybody.
I fucking hug a
Yeah.
tree. Like that's just who I am. I be hugging everyone. But one of my favorite things about your journey, just seeing you, is just how you transition into like this affirming queen. Because I remember before, because we were always joke around that like I'm literally the only positive person you'll allow into your life because there's only so much you can take.
It's not the positivity.
Yeah.
It's the level of the energy behind the passion of the loud positivity.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's okay.
Because I be opening Instagram and I'm like, fuck, you're just yelling at me, bitch. Like, it's a beautiful day to have a beautiful day. I'm like, oh my God, I just woke up, bro. Like, chill. Just feel like, have a good day, y'all. No.
Yeah, okay, so for those that don't know, if you follow my Instagram, I always start my day. It is a beautiful day to have a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day to make your dreams come true. It is a beautiful day to live a beautiful life. And you know, it's just I've literally, you know what's crazy? I was watching one of my archive stories from back in like 2019. So I've always used to say the saying. I didn't even realize, but before I will always just say, "Oh, it's a beautiful day." I've always been saying that saying in different ways, but now I have like an actual official saying. But it's so crazy. I'm like, wow, like I've literally been saying the same for like 6+ years and stuff. I have "It's a Beautiful Day" tatted on my arm too, but. Yeah, so I don't apologize for being loud on your stories first thing in the morning and being that burst of energy and positivity. But I do appreciate that you retain it in your own way and you take it in. And
Yeah.
let's talk about like this journey of affirmations that you're on now with, you know, Cassava and Kane. So first, how did that even come about?
Whew, that's a big question. So if we're talking about like my journey in terms of like going from
Starting your
please.
business.
From starting my business.
Oh, no, actually, no. From, like, go ahead.
Yeah, no, because I think it started way before my business, right? It was like, you know, your girl been through more than a few things.
Yes.
I don't look like what I've been through and all of that. And so I understand. And people are like, oh, mindset. I had a money coach for a while, Traveler Charlie, a queer, trans, Mexican money coach. They're super dope. And, you know, you and Charlie would always be like, mindset. I'm like,
Rolling her eyes.
I know I'm a bad bitch. Like, what do you mean mindset? Like, fuck. Like, what else can I do? Or like, oh, mindset around this, mindset around that, or like be mindful of your mindset. I'm like,
Change your mindset, you change your life.
yeah, but
Maybe.
but a lot of people don't be telling you what that actually means.
True.
Not, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
they're just like mindset, and I'm like, okay,
What about it?
Onomatopoeia, like what? You know, like you can't just be throwing words out there. So I'm like, okay, well, what is mindset? And so I just started thinking about like, okay, what is mindset? And then people are like, oh, well, you have to look at yourself in the mirror and say affirmations, and that can help with your mindset. And I was like, I have ADHD. I sometimes forget to brush my fucking teeth, right? Like I leave a room and I'm like, what? Wait, why am I
glitch.
standing here? Like I'm literally
What's
glitched.
happening?
I'm like a sim when you turn off the command, right?
Yeah.
Like you just exit the command that you just gave them. And so I'm like, I don't always have like remember to look in the mirror and talk to myself. And like also by like how I said that, I don't want to look in the mirror and talk to myself all the time. Like I got enough thoughts up here, bro. Like I gotta talk to myself. Coño, like demasiado, you know? So I was just like, I need to find a way to like have these mindful conversations with myself that makes sense to me, right? And so I journal all the time. And so people are like, oh, you should start journaling. I'm like, bitch, I've been journaling since forever. Like, what is the next level of this like mindset thing? Anyway, so I kept journaling and I would like look in the mirror from time to time and I'd do my little affirmations, but it wasn't consistent. And then I would do like Post-it notes, but like they would fall off the wall. And I'm like, is that an omen? You know, like, what? I can't do this. So for me, my mindset looked like, if I could just wear how I'm feeling, I set it. It's like set it and forget it. It looks fucking great. And it just like, it helps me like literally carry that energy wherever I am doing whatever I'm doing, whether I'm like walking into a big like networking event that I'm like nervous about, or whether I'm going through some stuff, or, you know, whatever it is, whether I'm just sitting at home and I'm like, oh, like I live in abundance, which is my theme for this year. Yeah. It's like, I live in abundance. And so Cassava and King was born out of that, and like also naming myself. So I think one of the most powerful things that people can do, and particularly Black women can do, is just name themselves. There's so many people and places and things that tell us who we are and what we aren't and what we're not capable of doing, or like what places we don't belong in. And so for me, like affirmations are a way of naming myself. Like I'm naming myself in abundance. I'm naming myself as a Black woman from Latin America. Like I'm naming myself in these different ways, and a little bit of Shaka Khan in there, because there's like different phrases for like how you're feeling. You know, sometimes you're feeling blessed. Sometimes you need to like feel, you're just like, oh, like I'm feeling real Caribbean today, like, and so there's different phrases for different things, but it's all about being in your process and knowing that like even in that process there's going to be great and not so great times, but like you are still a bad bitch and like there's tons of beauty within you and this world. And so that's what Cassava and Cane was born out of.
So so Gloria's brand, she has a series of different necklaces, keychains, and they have affirming words.
Yeah.
So I know you have blessed, you have Afro Latina, you have abundance, you have
Querida, we have sucia, we have cuero for all the little homos out there. I'm a homo as well, so I'm not being homophobic. There's caribeña, there's negra, because I would go into these like Latino spaces and I'm the only Black person there and everyone's looking at me like I'm like an imposter, like what is this Black woman doing here? And I'm like, y'all act like y'all don't know that Black people exist in Latin America. Like y'all be like in Celia Cruz
even though y'all be trying to
photos.
count us out, are you trying to count them out the census and everything in certain countries? But that's a whole conversation.
Girl, that's a whole nother conversation. That's a whole nother conversation. But like staking my claim, like y'all love reggaeton, but like it came from Black people, but all of a sudden you don't know Black people exist in Latin America. Like fuck out of here.
Girl, we've been cursing this entire time.
Well, you said earlier.
I know, and I said it because I'm like, it's just.
You said to the wrong person.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
So yeah, it's all about just like naming myself in the spaces that I'm in, and so like yes, I'm a Black woman, and I come from Latin America, and I belong in these spaces.
Yes.
Just as much.
So how did you come up with the name Cassava and Cane?
So I wanted something like a nod to culture, Afro and like diasporic Blackness as well.
Yes.
And so cassava, it's originally from the Americas. A lot of indigenous communities use cassava, yuca, in like their foods and things like that. But it also has a really big, it's a huge food staple on the continent of Africa. And so there's tons of different ways that like different African countries use cassava in like their food. And then cane comes from my dad and my grandfather who used to work on a sugar plantation in the Dominican Republic.
Wow.
And so it's a nod to like the
it's a nod to
culture.
you.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a whole big thing for the Jefatona podcast in general. It's just like how are we empowering ourselves as like women bosses in general and just not leaving our culture behind, not leaving our identity behind, because a lot of times we feel like we have to assimilate to certain spaces. We have to assimilate around certain people and just to feel accepted, just to feel respected, just to feel, like we're here, we're meant to be here. But like, no, like we can still be ourselves wholeheartedly and organically and holistically. And, you have to assimilate to us type of thing. So, I mean, I love that. I love that you are tying your roots and your culture as a part of your brand. And it's been so beautiful to see the growth of it. Like, I remember but when you were building it, like, I know we've had a couple conversations prior, like, how do we do this? How do we do that? But just to see, like, since you launched it initially, seeing you. So, when I tell you Gloria has literally been teaching herself how to build a brand from scratch, like the website building, the newsletter building, like content editing, everything. She wears all the hats for it, and it's been so beautiful to witness. And I mean, and just even like I know even recently, like yes, you're growing, but I love that you're so transparent, and that's something that I'm really big on too. Is just being transparent about the journey, not just sharing the highs, but also sharing the lows about everything. I know you have recently posted on your page like you did like a order for like 500.
Girl, 500.
500 inserts for your necklaces, but then you realize you had the wrong spelling
of the business. I misspelled my business name on 500 pieces of like inserts for when I send you all your orders.
Yeah, which you will be ordering.
Right.
But I love that you like, again, give me problems, I give you solutions. I'm that type of girl all the way, and you did the same thing too. So thankfully, you had the business name on the bottom of the card, so you actually end up having to cut like the 500. You cut it off, and it fits perfectly inside of
the little pouches.
Yeah, the little pouches. So like, even when you just know when you order, because you will order. When you receive your necklaces and you get the little insert inside of the pouch, just know that had to be cut.
Right. So if it's a little crooked. It's organic. Okay?
Yes.
It's handmade.
This is the beauty of small businesses, though. It's just like, again, we learn from so much, but I can only imagine like your heart dropped when you.
I was so frustrated. Like, and so I also, when I was a freelance writer, I had editors.
Yeah.
I'm not an editor. So I'm going to give you the words and they going to make sense. But, sometimes you may have to change an E or an I or an R or whatever.
Sure.
And so I know this about myself. And so I double checked. And what I come to realize is that my computer changes the spelling with the E at the end all the time, which is really, really annoying. So that's what it was. I'm sure I checked it.
Are you sure?
I'm sure I did.
I'm sure.
But clearly not.
I was gonna say, clearly the prints are showing something.
Right. Clearly not enough, or I'm lying.
Yes.
But
or
it's a
maybe someone
workaround.
has a personal vendetta against you at the printing place.
They
It
did.
could be that.
I think they
Who
do.
put it on them? It's not you.
It wasn't me.
We're not doing accountability over here.
No, why would we do that?
Why would we do that?
That's so weird.
Yeah, it's definitely someone else's fault.
Ew. Don't do
Not
that.
me. We're perfect. We don't make mistakes here.
No, we don't. Especially
No.
not spelling mistakes.
Okay.
Ew.
Yeah, no. Like,
So
who
above
does
that.
No, but I love that you share that. She did do a reel about that because she's like, look, guys, this is like, as a small business owner, things happen, when you're working with like a team of one.
Yeah.
There's only so much you can do, but, shout out to you with that.
Thank you.
Okay. So one of my other favorite things about Gloria is the amazing mother she is.
thank you.
Her little genius, her little amazing, her little best friend, her little
Yes.
twin.
That's my homie.
So talk about just like so one thing about Gloria. So she grew up with her daughter. You had your daughter at a young age. You were 15 years old.
Yes.
And while a lot of people are just like, oh, your life is over, your life is this, your life is that. Like, just talk about what it was, just you being a young teenage mom.
Girl, yeah, that was so. I think so. I will get to that, but I also think it's really important for people to realize that, like, for me, in my case, there was a lot of things. There's like 15 years of life before I became pregnant, right? Which people are like, oh, 15 years, you're still a baby. Like, fine, whatever. But like, people live different lives and go through different things. And so there was a lot of adultification that happens to Black women, Latina women, young women and girls because of things like poverty, because of things like, all sorts of situations that can lead to adultification and like needing to be more responsible than you should have to be at a certain age. And so for me, I was dealing with a lot of what I didn't know was like depression, which is very common for teenagers and very common for kids who are living in poverty and really common for kids that, have different family structures and blah, blah, blah. And so I was like dealing with a lot of depression and like sadness, but I was still a grade A student. I was like in chorus and in drama. I was in a dance class. I was doing all the quote unquote right things so that I would never end up pregnant, right? Except for having protected sex. But like, my dance class is going to make sure I don't get pregnant. But I did. I became pregnant at the age. I didn't become pregnant. I joke and I say it was asexual reproduction. That's all y'all need to know. Because that's basically what it boiled down to. Okay. So I asexually reproduced her at the age of 15. And I remember telling my mother about it. So my mom's boyfriend, you still have to get all of your like vaccines and stuff. And so I needed some vaccines. We had to go somewhere to get, I don't know. And my mom's boyfriend, he had driven me to the place and there was like this smell in his truck. And I had already missed my period at that point. And so I was like, I don't know, because this hasn't really happened before to me. And so there's like this smell in his truck and I literally almost threw up in this man's truck. And I was like, oh, fuck. Like, you're pregnant.
Yeah.
So I didn't try to hide it from my mother because I was like, I'm not. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Like, we just gonna be honest about what's going on.
Yeah.
Now.
I give that to you. You weren't nervous at all to tell her, or like?
I was nervous, but it was like I was so certain that I was pregnant that like, okay, it's for one thing about me. It's always like, okay, now what? Like, if you want someone, I have a team of sisters, they all know not to call me when it comes to processing feelings. That's not my forte. My forte is, what are we going to do? Right? Like, what's next? Like, what are the next steps? And so it's like, okay, you're pregnant. You're clearly 15. Now what? Right? And so I went to my mother in the middle of her novela.
You were about to give her another novela.
Right. Literally. I waited for the commercials. I was just sitting there in the chair in the living room across from her, and she was like, "What?" Because like that's not normal behavior for me. And I told her, and she was like, everything's going to be okay, mamita. She gave me a really awkward hug and then walked into her room and started sobbing. And I was like, wow, that's great. And so for me, I'm one of the youngest in my family. And again, I was like, a really great, like a good academic performer. I was like doing all these things that we're supposed to, all the good girls do. But here I am pregnant at 15. And so my family was shocked, to say the least. And it was like, oh, okay, you're pregnant. We had went to doctor's appointments and blah, blah, blah. But there was, going to school was difficult. And this is where I realized like a lot of things that people would say about pregnant and parenting teens. It's not necessarily the young person that's the issue. It's how people are treating us because we have obvious evidence that we've had sex, right? That's basically what it boils down to in my experience. And so like teachers would stop talking to me. I was still going to class. I was still wanting to do my work. Teachers would stop talking to me.
Are you serious?
My academic advisor refused to see me. The only reason she saw me is because I put a note in her mailbox saying that I was going to drop out of high school. And counselors can only have so many kids drop out of high school underneath them. Underneath their name. So that's why she's like, okay, what's up? And I was like, I wanted to go to college, but you not talking to me, right? Like, what's up? My therapist left me. She was like, oh, you think you grown now? And just literally left me.
This is insane.
Yeah. So like all of these, like what is supposed to be support systems for young people decided that they were just going to not be supportive.
Just checked you off like, whatever.
Yeah.
They ruined their life.
And so when you hear statistics like, 50% of young women young teenage women who get pregnant, that doesn't make sense. Of teenage girls who get pregnant end up dropping out of high school. A lot of people don't ask why, right? Like I wasn't trying to drop out of high school. I didn't want to drop out of high school. I liked going to school. I enjoyed going to school. And school was one of the only things that still made me feel my age. Because like my body is literally going through things like, my family is going through things with this news. And the fact that like another mouth is coming into this family, like it's a lot, right? But all the support systems that were supposed to be there had decided to opt themselves out. And so I literally have been fighting for myself forever. And that's what this whole process has been. And it's been a process of forging what my own family is going to look like and what my path is going to look like, because no one else is going to help. No one else was willing to help me. And I'm figuring it out. And I'm not going to ask no questions, which also sucks because it leads to Gloria not wanting to talk to people and open up to people and things like that. Because when I was my most vulnerable and I needed support, people were like really excited to get out of my life.
Wow. I mean, and this is just like for any listeners that, that's tuning in right now, just be considerate, because obviously we're still going to see that now. And it's so easy to be judgmental. It's so easy to be like, oh yeah, again, they ruined their life or whatever. And just like, no, like, how are you showing up? And when we say like it takes a village, it's an old saying, yes, but it truly does take a village to raise the next generation. It really does take a village for us just to, work together, more ways than one. And like, when you see someone that is, it's going to happen, we're going to see it. How are you responding? How are you helping? How are you just like being of value? And, because again, like they are bringing life, which is a beautiful gift. Like they are bringing life into the world. And that's insane to hear about your teachers and your academic advisors. Goodness gracious.
Yeah.
But if y'all listening, just know her daughter is popping.
Right.
She just accepted her offer for what she going to
her top choice.
Yeah, her top choice.
Which is
college.
in Canada.
She going to Canada.
She got to the honors science program.
And she's amazing.
I graduated from high school with honors.
Okay.
Like I graduated from college with honors.
Yes.
Like
I'm so proud of you. I'm saying, look, I don't mean to interrupt you again, but like I'm obsessed with you and your daughter and the relationship that y'all have, because y'all be traveling, y'all be going all over the world together, and it's just literally all around the country and all around to other countries, and they just be minding their business and doing their things. Like that's your homie.
That is my homie, and I think like she's my homie for like multiple reasons, but mostly because I know that like I wanted to. I took the ego out of parenting, and I think a lot of our parents don't do that, and why a lot of parents have issues with their children. Because I would tell her like, I don't know, or like I'm wrong. I was wrong, or let's figure it out together. I don't always have all the answers, and so for me it was like taking the ego out of parenting and also continuing to again do whatever I want to do, because y'all not trying to help me, so I'm gonna do whatever it is that I want to do, and that's looked like literally packing up and traveling the world with my daughter for like almost a year, right?
Oh, wait, you did that for like a year? Okay,
Yeah.
so this is prior from this
Yeah,
is before me
yeah.
knowing you. What? Speak about that.
Oh yeah, so
What? That's awesome.
yeah, I was.
People don't even do that with no kids.
This is why when people are like, "Oh, I can't leave the country, I can't move," I'm like, "What do you have?
Yeah.
You got a child? You got a house? You got a husband?
Okay.
And no, I'm single." And I like, okay, let's go.
Yeah.
You know, just go do the thing
Yeah.
that you want to do. But yeah, so I loved the wild thornberries when I was younger.
Same.
And I was like, oh, this is like, people can do this. Like, you know, they're driving around wherever they are in their camper van with their 2 kids and their 2
Did you get
like.
a camper van?
Did I get a camper
Yeah.
van? No,
Oh,
girl.
so-
I hate driving. hate driving. No. So I was inspired by them.
Okay.
And I was like, I want to do that. Whenever I have my family, I want to do that. And so the person who got me pregnant, spoiler, I didn't asexually reproduce. The person who got me pregnant, I would like tell them, like, I want to do this. And he'd be like, oh, that's dumb. Or like, that's not going to happen. Or blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, fine. And then got the hell out of that relationship. And in 2017, I was like, I'm going to do this. And I had saved enough money. So I live in New York City. It cost bags of money to move. And so I was like, I don't know if I'm going to move us out and get our own apartment or if I'm going to go start this trip for us. But I was like, what I know I need to do is save up money.
Yeah.
So I just saved up like mad money. And I was like, I will decide when the moment comes. And I decided to quit my job, move all my stuff back. Well, hold on.
I was gonna say, how old was your daughter?
She was 10. She was like
Okay.
10 or 11.
Okay.
And that was also a really big reason because I was like, I want to do it where she's old enough to remember and young enough to really still like fuck with me, you know?
Yeah.
Because you don't know what's going to happen in the teenage years. I was confident that we were still going to be friends and be homies, but you never know, you know?
GTO soda.
After, so we don't keep burping on the mic.
No, I've swallowed like 3 burps. Issa probably heard it. She's going to hear it. I'm trying, y'all. I'm
That's
trying. But go ahead.
hilarious.
I'll be like, multiple times. But go ahead.
Yeah, so I got into my little spreadsheet. I love a spreadsheet.
Yes,
And I started like just putting countries that I've always wanted to go to. And I also can be very type A. And so I was like trying to plan down to the like this week to this week and this day to that day. But I knew I wanted to be gone like long term. So I was like, you're trying to plan 3 months from now when you're going to be on the other side of the world of what this will look like, just like chill. So that was really hard for me to do.
Yeah.
Long story short, I mailed like my boxes and photos and all this stuff to like family members so that they can keep it safe for us. And we took a one-way flight to Beijing, China in 2017.
God!
Yeah.
Can you adopt me? She about to go off to college. You still need me.
No, I'm done, girl. One and done. President of one and done.
Anyway, we go ahead. So yeah, you went to China.
Yeah, we went to China. We went to 9 countries. We were gone for about like 9 to 11 months or something.
Okay.
And yeah, I homeschooled her. And we just kind of chose countries that we wanted to go to. We adjusted where we needed to adjust.
Yeah. So what other countries did you go to?
We went to.
Okay, how long are you? This is so cool. I'm just like, wait, more details. So you started off in China.
We
How
started
long
in
were you there?
China.
Where'd you go next?
We did 2 weeks in China because I was like,
Okay.
let's adjust to like the time difference and
Okay.
everything. I always wanted to go to China. I actually plan on going to China to finally learn Mandarin. I've been teaching
Okay.
myself for years. It doesn't stick, so I want to just go like
Okay.
be in China and learn Mandarin.
Okay.
So we went to China, Japan, Thailand, Cambodia, South Africa, Egypt,
Oh my god.
Italy, Spain, and DR.
That
she'd never
is
been.
insane. So I know you had your spreadsheet. You already knew you was gonna go to all these countries, or were you kind of like once you were in one country, you're like, all right, where are we gonna go next, type of thing?
I knew up to Thailand. So I
Okay.
had a general path of, I was like, I want to start really, really difficult. And then as I move my way back, I'll be able to like learn a language and get a little bit closer to like, you know,
Yeah.
cultures that I'm familiar with.
Did
so
you stay in each one for like a month or?
it varied.
Okay.
So we stayed in Tokyo for like, I think a week and a half.
Okay.
And I really wanted to see a sumo wrestling match. So that's why we went to Tokyo.
Okay.
I really wanted to see Angkor Wat, which is like the temple the temple like complex
Okay.
in Cambodia. So I was like, okay, let's go to Cambodia.
Okay, I'm just like so like flabbergasted right now. Look at me, I'm about to like I just like crisscross applesauce my legs. This is so cool. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I love this for you guys.
Yeah, that's my
Wow.
So I'm like, yeah, that's my homie. Like, for real. Because
really
who else
is.
would you
What
want to
was
travel
your
with?
favorite moment like during that experience with your daughter?
My favorite moment, actually, there's two.
Okay.
So, she got stung by a jellyfish. Poor thing.
So, did you pee on her?
No, I didn't pee on her.
I don't sound so bad, but I know that's what you're supposed to do, right? You get stung by a
Supposedly,
jellyfish,
but
yeah.
they say olive oil also works, or like
Okay.
lemon juice, which
Okay.
I don't understand which one is which because I feel
Why
like
was you
they're-
carrying olive oil on the beach?
well, the restaurants.
Oh, true.
You know.
Yeah.
So so that's not why it's my favorite thing, but we were in Thailand. She
Okay.
got stung by this jellyfish. I kept telling her, you need to put the ointment on you to like make sure that it's all done.
Okay.
Like it's all gone. And she was like really hard headed and just like, she's like, oh, it's gone. I don't need to do it anymore. I was like, the pharmacist, which is like, they're doctors in Thailand essentially. It's like the
For sure.
pharmacist was like, you need to do it for X amount of days. And she wasn't doing it for X amount of days. Anyways, we were walking back to the hotel. She was pissed off. She had on flip flops and her jellyfish sting kept popping back up because she hadn't finished the ointment that she was supposed to finish. And so she was like storming off away from me and she kept going in the wrong direction. Which is just so funny to me because like there's this little person, she's like trying to storm away from me in like the middle of Chiang Mai, and she just kept going the wrong direction. So she would look back and like I'd have to tell her which way to go, and then she'd like turn around all pissed off, like keep walking, and then so I was just like trying really hard not to laugh. So that was one of my favorite moments. And then the other favorite moment was in Rome. She just like took to the city and was just super confident. I think that's where I like really saw her confidence come out, and she like. I literally was like, okay, you tell us what to do. And I gave her a little map and I just followed her around wherever she told us we had to go in Rome. And she was just so like confident and sure of herself. So that was really nice.
Amazing. I know you guys traveled together, but I didn't know it was to that extent.
Yeah.
Oh, Mom, why did I get that experience? Like, Jesus.
Yeah.
No,
So
I'm
that's
proud of
why
you.
I'm always like just doing whatever I want. Because why not?
Yeah.
Literally, why not? If I'm not hurting anybody,
Yeah.
why not?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How do you feel that she's about to go off to college now?
I
And another country too. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like you probably knew that was gonna happen anyway, right?
Yeah. So she's actually closer than what I would thought she was going to be.
Okay.
So we were planning for her to go to school in Europe. So we were we applied to schools in Ireland, Amsterdam. She put her foot down when it came to Germany and like other countries that were a little bit further out. And then she actually found this school herself in Canada. She loved it, fell in love with it, applied to like, a few schools in Canada. And so she's going to be going to Western in Ontario in Canada. How do I feel about her going off? I knew this was going to be like the biggest transition of my life. And so last year I was like started doing more things for myself and by myself to get used to it. Cause like my kid and I go like everywhere together that we're able to go everywhere together. And so I was like, you have to figure out how to like be yourself and not someone's parent. Right. 'Cause I've been someone's parent for like from 15 to now.
Yeah.
Which is a long time to like have a really active role and like a huge role that you have to play. So it's been like me having to softly onboard myself to like my kid leaving. And I cried a ton on her 18th birthday. And
You cry?
yeah,
What?
I cried a lot. I know. It's been a lot of it's been a lot of emotions. My God, because I'm like really proud, but I'm also scared, but I'm like really excited. And I'm like, that's a lot of money. So please order something.
Order a chain or two. Tell a friend to tell a friend.
Right, tell a friend to tell a friend. Make a TikTok, dance with it. I don't know what you got to do, but help me out. But I'm excited. I'm honestly really, really proud of us. I literally cannot believe that I made this human and then I've raised this human, and she's
Amazing.
objectively a really cool person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, I'll tell you, I've always seen her on social media. The first time I met her was at a Jefatona event last year. Where were you guys going? I forgot, because you came with us. We drove you back to Philly.
Yeah.
Where were you guys
We
going?
were going to DC, and then from DC we're going to Mexico.
Yeah, you just like, because because you guys ended up, they caught a train from Philly to DC, and that was the first time I met her, and I was just so like enamored by her, just like the way she carries herself, the way like she was talking, her confidence too, and I'm like, wow, I can learn so much from you too. But it was a hour and a half car ride, and I was just like, I love you, like you're awesome. But also I want to make sure to give you your flowers because you raised her.
Yeah,
you did that. The person she is today, and she's your legacy. So
that's my life's work.
That's your life's work, and speaks highly of you.
Thank you.
So shout out to you. Give yourself a
you.
little pat on the back.
If there's one thing I know I'm a great ass mom.
You are.
Period.
You
like
are.
there's nothing that can shake like that level of confidence and like knowing in me.
So what are you gonna do now that you're gonna be by yourself? Are we gonna be dating more? Are we gonna be like, what's happening? What's happening? What's going on with the dating life?
What's going on with the dating life is
trust me, I feel that too.
Yeah.
Like,
It's hard. Okay, so going back to mindset.
yeah.
And it's like, do I actually think I should be dating people? Do I deserve to be dating people?
Why do you think you deserve to be dating people?
Because people have treated, like when I've tried in the past, people don't like single black moms. Period.
But why do you think you deserve?
So why don't I think
or
I
they don't
deserve?
deserve you? Like,
No, but
why
I
is
don't.
Ooh,
well-
my heel coming on. Trying to readjust myself. Anyway,
Well, it's you internalize things when you hear it and feel it so often, right? And so that's like kind of how I felt about it. And then just my experience of becoming pregnant at 15 and everyone treating me like I was trash, feeling like I was trash, right? And like being with someone who treated me like trash and, it was a terrible situation. Like you internalize all of that. And I also was like, I don't have time. Like truly, and I know my friends are like, oh my God, you can make time for things that are important. Well, you know what? Talking to strangers really isn't important. And so I've also like realized that I just didn't really give a fuck to date for a long time.
Yeah.
And I don't have to make an excuse for that. I don't need to make apologies for that. Like I was doing really hard work. Like I was going to school full time and working as a freelance writer full time and raising a human full time. And that human has appointments and I have appointments and we both have feelings. And I also want to have a relationship with this person. And I have a whole family that also like I'm a part of. Right. So like, no, I don't have time to like go get drinks with someone's crusty, dusty son. Right. Or like someone who's like trying to be like a stud, a stud step parent. Like I don't need that. Like I don't need like, please. Right. So for a long time, I didn't care to make time for it because I didn't have time for it. And if I had time, I needed a fucking nap. I didn't need to go sit in some loud ass bar with someone's ill-raised child. Well, I had mine at home to raise and myself.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to figure out my own shit. So all that to say, now I'm like, it's not that serious. It's not that deep, right? My life has changed in many different ways. And I've realized that like, if like I got my people and I got my community.
Yes.
I've also gone through some breakups with like different relationships that have like completely rattled me in like devastating ways.
Girl.
And if I can survive that, I can survive someone being like, oh, I don't like you no more. That's the worst thing that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Well, outside of being like murdered, but because there's also that.
There's also that. That would suck.
Yeah, that would suck.
Yeah.
Also, that was a real fear for me too.
Yeah.
Like I live in New York City. Like I'm not trying to like end up in someone's like fucking bathtub.
Yeah.
Like no. Anyways, clearly I had a lot of feelings.
We're not gonna even put that
But
as
we're
a
not gonna put that in.
Release.
Really sad. But yeah, so now I'm making time for it because I have time for it
Yeah.
because my child can feed themselves.
Yeah.
And like I have money to date now too,
Yeah.
which is really nice because I was poor for a really, really long time. So I'm on my little Hinge and swiping left and right.
Are you only doing Hinge or are you doing any other apps?
I'm only doing Hinge. Bumble is not the people who I like. The people who I like are not on Bumble.
I saw. I mean, I got an ad for it, but there is like a queer app that just like launched recently too. So I gotta find the name and then send it over to you.
Yeah, I was on a queer app, but it was like
Was it her?
I was on her.
Yeah.
And everyone was in Jersey, and they were like all studs.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm good.
What's your type?
Money.
There's that too.
Money.
There's that too.
No, for real, because like, and I'm not trying to be funny, but that's really important to me. Like, I can't. I don't mean this no type of way.
No.
Other than exactly how I say it. Every queer person is either a barista or a DJ. I like to hop on planes.
Yeah. I mean, clearly,
I like
you did it
to-
for like 9 months straight with a child.
I like to do things that like cost money, right? Whether it's like hopping on a plane or it's like, you know, whatever it is. I like to do things that cost money.
Yeah.
And not even on some like, oh, like soft life, luxury life shit. Like I just, you know, it is what it is. And so I need someone who is able to pay for themselves at the very least. And I'm sorry, but to me, a DJ at a big age with like several roommates is not my type. So that's why I say money, because it is
I
important.
mean, unless they're like a poppin' DJ that gets really big bookings.
Sure. No, sure, absolutely. But like,
I know.
yeah, I just
Are those like you've dated them before in the past, or
no.
it's just what you've seen, what you've observed?
It's what I've observed, what I've like, what the pool looks like for
Okay.
queer people currently. So what is my type? That was a question. Money, yes. So like, I need someone who's able to like financially keep up with the things that I like to keep up with.
Okay.
Period. Black women, Black femmes, and yeah, that's my type. Black women, Black femmes, and people who have emotional maturity, and people who and queer people who aren't ascribing to heterosexual and heteronormative behavior, like relationship roles.
Okay.
Because you got a lot of people who are like, oh, I'm queer, and then they're like, oh, but you're the girl.
And I'm
The
the guy,
fuck are
like,
you
I
talking
know,
about? Like, well, I'm masculine, so like you gotta let me lead. Lead me where, bitch? I just met you. What are you talking about? And then you want me to cuddle you like a baby when we're home? Get the fuck out of here. We're not gonna play like heteros. I'm good.
Yeah, no, we're both women. We gotta like
Right? Or like we're both whatever the fuck we are. Like I'm also like, you know, femmes. So that it does, if you're not, you know, if you don't identify as a woman, that's totally fine. That's great. But we're not gonna play heterosexual roles. That's why I'm queer.
hilarious.
Yeah.
So I know you do have a date coming up, right?
I do have a date coming up.
Did you meet them on Hinge? Or?
I did.
Ooh, how long have you guys been talking for?
So my life is crazy, and so I had to reschedule this date like 2 or 3 times already. So we've been talking for a month and a half at this point because I had to reschedule it so many times. Yeah,
That's good. I hope it goes good. I mean, it's the start. This is the start of something new.
I don't know the song, but
You never watch? It's High School Musical, right? I think.
No, girl, I was raising a child. I'm talking about High School.
Well, you didn't watch High School Musical with your child?
No, she hates that she does not know High School Musical.
Really?
I did not play them games with my child. You are a PBS kid.
She
was a PBS kid. PBS or My Little Pony. That was it. I'm so serious.
That's funny. Well, I'm excited for you. I'm excited for this new era for, you know, to explore yourself, you know, dating and everything. I mean,
Yes.
you know, I'm on the same page too. I haven't dated at all. I've been single for like over 12 years, which is fucking insane. But, you know, look at us. We're, you know, allowing ourselves to be, you know, to receive whatever the world wants us to get. But I'm especially excited for you, and I can't wait to hear your stories.
I'm excited. I'm really excited for this like next chapter of who I am and like crashing through that process. Well, wait, I want to go back to you and these 12 years.
No, this interview is about you.
You said it was a conversation.
No, it's a conversation about you. No.
Okay.
Go ahead. Let me get it.
No, I'm interested to hear like how you feel about. So I always get people like, why aren't you dating? Or like, you should date or blah, blah, blah. Like, it's like the thing you should be doing. Did you like deal with that a lot? And how did you feel like getting those questions?
Like everyone's just like, Delilah, why aren't you putting yourself out there? Delilah, why aren't you? And I'm just like, you know, with me, I've dealt with a lot of, I can't even speak right now. You see what talking about dating does for me? It's just like, ugh. No, I mean, I've dealt with a lot of insecurities for pretty much my entire adulthood. And I never felt, and this was stuff that was stemming from my father, that I just never felt valuable enough to be someone's partner. And I just always felt like insecure, like, oh, if I start dating someone, they're just gonna hurt me, they're gonna do this. I was just like always like manifesting these bad things. And you know, I stopped myself, honestly. And there's really no excuse other than me. I just was always insecure, if I'm being honest. You know, I doubt, you know, for years I doubt, like I was, you know, broke, just trying to figure out my life. I was just, you know, I would do like a whole bunch of little side gigs here and there. I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I knew I wanted to do something that was going to cause impact. I knew I wanted to do something that was just like, that's going to create community, that's going to pour into the community, but I just never knew exactly what. So as I was figuring that out for years, like, you know, post-college, I actually had dropped out of college my senior year. I did go back and I graduated. Yeah, I dropped out of college my senior year. It was a crazy time. I was just going through it. I did end up going back in 2016. I graduated. And thankfully, I was still able to I went to Penn State. I was still able to, I went online. Was able to take the last couple credits I needed through like a work campus, and I was able to still walk at the main campus. Oh, wow. So that was my thing, because Penn State has a whole bunch of campuses, and I'm like, I don't want to walk in a campus that I didn't go to. Like, it's just not the same, just for the sake of getting a degree. But you know, I did. It was just something I wanted to do. It was something I wanted to give back to my grandparents, because obviously they came to this country, and I am a first gen, you know, not just, you know, first gen Latina, but also like the first graduate. First person to graduate in my family. I'm first person to graduate college in my family. First person to start a business in my family. So I'm a lot of problems. The first granddaughter, the first niece. Damn. You know, yeah. So a lot of weight to carry, girl. But you know, it was just something I wanted to give back to my grandparents. I always knew I was going to start my own business. So. But yeah, you know, I went through a lot of years of financial insecurity, a lot of years of physical insecurity, and just like emotional insecurity as well. So as I just like started my healing journey, I just like, it just always took time for myself. I've done dates randomly here and there, but they'll go good, but it was always me. I was just always pushing. I would always just close them out, you know, just push them away, because I would always just be like, no, they don't really want me. No, they don't really like me. Or, you know, they probably think I'm ugly. They probably think it's a whole lot of like trauma because of the emotional abuse I've experienced with my father growing up. So, you know, it's just a lot of that. But, you know, I feel more confident about who I am now. Good, yes. Get into a space of like, you know, just even like where I am just with my career, where I'm mentally, emotionally. I'm like, okay, things going good. Things are going fine. Yes. So I've been able to pretty much like manifest everything I want in my life right now. And I'm like, this is the first time ever that I'm like, okay, I think I want a partner. And I've never been like that. I've never been one that's been like, oh, I want to get married. I want to have kids. I want to whatever. But now I'm just like, no, you know what I think it is? Because there's so many exciting things happening in my life right now. There's so many like, you know, huge milestones and everything. And then granted, I have like, and I spoke about this in my IG stories too. I'm like, you know, granted, I have like friends and stuff I can share it with, but I think it makes me kind of sad at times. I don't have anyone like a partner to kind of like talk about this with, you know, it's because it's exciting milestones, and you want to share that with someone that you love, and it's just like, you know, I don't have that. So I think that's was just kind of like, all right, like let me just open myself, and I've been saying that, but I still haven't gone on a date. Oh my God. But you know, at least I'm kind of in a place like, okay, maybe I do want a partner, you know. So you know, I'm like, we're just taking it day by day. We're just, you know, that's all we can do right now. But yeah, but I get that all the time. Like, Delilah, when are you gonna be in a relationship? When are you gonna do that? I'm like, I don't know. When God wants now. So before it was just like, no, I'm just focused on my career. I'm focused on myself. I'm focused on healing. But now it's just like, whenever God wants, you know, me to do it. So it's just like, okay, now I'm not saying no. Yeah. It's just leaving it to God at this point. But yeah.
No, and also like watching all the pieces come together for you has also been really great and like wonderful to watch, to be honest with you, because you know, you like were speaking, you were like running around doing events and like, you know, like hosting things, and you're always like, oh, community, and then you're like, but I also really like music, and like women are just so beautiful, and like there's so much power in being a woman, blah blah blah. But it was like all kind of like it was, I guess, kind of like your phrase, like a little bit, you know, it was in different parts, right? It didn't all come together. And so seeing like this light bulb moment for you and like the growth of Jefatona and you like taking it from like, oh, it's just gonna be a party really quickly to like, oh, we're gonna do like, you've always wanted to do a music festival, and like you have something coming up. I don't know if I can talk about it.
She's sharing close friends information right now.
You have like all the pieces are coming together, and like it's been really great to see, because it helps me realize that like the pieces do fall into place.
They do.
Like if you are clear on like the things that you like and the
Yeah.
things that you enjoy doing and like what brings you whatever and like what you want to do,
Yeah.
the pieces do come into place.
It
Like
does,
it
you
always
know.
is working towards that way.
I've had a crazy journey. I've worn multiple hats. I've been in multiple positions. I've done so much, but like everything I've done is kind of always revolved around like entertainment and community. So whatever that looked like, whatever way, shape, or form. So I used to be a director of promotions at iHeart, radio. So it's like it's a global entertainment company, and I was managing promotions for like top stations here in Philly, doing events, producing concerts. I used to have prior to this, I used to run like a media blog where I was doing red carpet interviews at award shows. I was at premiere events. I was doing all of that with my little cheap microphone and whatever friend I could get to, hold the camera, hit record because I couldn't afford a videographer. I was doing all of that. I've always loved community. I've always loved women. I've always loved just building genuine relationships with people. So like to be able, all these things that I've done, like you said, like it's just how everything is kind of coming in full circle with Jefatona is insane. Like literally things that, I've envisioned, like even when I was younger, I've always knew like, I went, because this is even going back, which I shouldn't have been watching. I've been watching Sex and the City like when I was younger, and I'm like, I just love Friends. Like, or even seeing Living Single, even all those friendship shows. I'm like, I love that. Like, I love seeing just community and like to be able to be building a brand that's really revolving around community. That again, it started off as a party experiential series, and now we're doing a podcast, but now we're going to be expanding our programming element, to do different things, like whether it's like business oriented networking, but actually building genuine community. So I'm really excited about the growth of Jefatona. I'm really excited to see what's gonna happen. And again, like right now it's just everything's just kind of God led. But a lot of things that are happening, I'm like, wow, I used to do something like this like 3 years ago. Wow, I used to do something like this 5 years ago. Wow, I used to do something like this, a year ago. But it's just everything that I've learned, every chapter of my life it just makes sense now. It sucked when certain chapters closed, but I'm like, God needed me to do that for that reason, because I needed to learn what I needed to learn during that time so I can pour into this thing. So just even with anyone that's listening right now, just know none of your journeys are going to go in vain. Like none of your journeys are going to things may not make sense right now. And again, it does suck when chapters close, but always just be appreciative of whatever you learn from whatever chapter of your life, because your story is still being written. And it's just, I've gained so much knowledge in all of my roles, and I'm just, again, we're just here. Whatever God wants, we gonna keep it moving. But thank you though for calling that out.
It's been great to watch. It really has been really wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, it's been beautiful to see your business, like just seeing what you're pouring into it and how you're able to build it. And I mean, what would you say, just kind of again, because there is a cultural element, which is very important when it comes to your brand.
Yeah.
Like, how would you define, success when it comes to like, your culture, like your business?
How would I define success outside of monetary things?
Of course.
Right. For me, it already feels like success because I've taught myself so many new things. Yes. I've taught myself so many new things. I've put myself out there more in different ways than I've ever have. And it's pushed me, to want to see more people feel and look great. And that's what I think like my brand and my business is about, is really giving people an extra piece of something to help them feel and look great while they're doing all the beautiful and hard things that life throws at them. And like when it comes to culture, like there, to me, so I do culture and narrative shift as a communications person. So I think about culture in like many different ways. And so there's like culture as it ties to like your race and your ethnicity. There's culture as like a community. There's, there's different types of culture to me. And so for me, part of the culture for the brand is just being in process. Like, I think that we spend a lot of time on like oh, the flashy thing, but like the process is, and I don't want to be like cliche, I'm like, oh, the process is where the beauty is at, because like the process fucking sucks sometimes, you know. The process is poor sometimes. Like the process is crying
will have
sometimes.
you go into depression,
Girl.
will have you questioning yourself, questioning life. I've been through all of that.
And like and there's also like process and like different transitions in life are really freaking difficult. But there's the need, like, to me, like part of the culture of cassava and cane is like being in process with yourself. And that's why, like, whether things are great or whether things are not so great, you always have a piece of jewelry that can tell you that you are great and like things are going to be okay. So that's part of like the culture of success, right? It's like people being more like showing up for themselves in that process, whatever that looks like, whether it's your kid going off to college, whether it's you applying for a different job, moving somewhere, whatever that is, right? And then when it comes to culture, like, you know, to your race, ethnicity, it's part of the reason like the chains are like a little bit chunkier. It's reminiscent of like a nameplate necklace, right? Like I always wanted a nameplate necklace. We were way too poor to get any of them. I got my daughter like 3. She lost all of them. I'm over buying her nameplate necklace. But like that's like part of the culture. It's like a nod to like, you know, the round the way girl who's just like doing life despite what everyone says and in spite of people and what they say and what she's capable of doing or what she should be doing. And like as an Afro-Latina, I think it's, so the first necklace I ever thought of was negra. And it was because, again, like, so I was doing a lot of content around Afro-Latinos and like history and culture of Afro-Latinos, because people like to think that Celia Cruz was the only Black person that ever existed in Latin America. And then she died and there was just no more Afro-Latinas anywhere, unless they're like making fun of Sammy Sosa. Which, like, fine, whatever, make fun of Sammy Sosa. But like, so for me, it was like that's part of the culture. So like there's a negra necklace, there's tumbao, which is specifically an affirmation that, yes, Celia Cruz gave Black women from Latin America to be like, you're that bitch, like you know, like you got it, like you that girl, right? When I saw that video, that La Negra Tiene Tumbao video, and she was stripping down the street and like everyone was like literally watching, because she wasn't like, y'all seen the video, right? Like she looks great with her clothes on, and she's walking on the street, people like literally stopping, like staring at her. They're in awe of her. They're in awe of her beauty. But I was in awe of like her confidence of like walking through what I call, no shade, a sea of paper bag Latinos, and like just being confidently a Black woman in this space. And then she like strips down and she's like covered in gold and she's running through the streets covered in gold. And everyone's like even more like, it's just like every step she's taken, every place she's going to, it's like more and more people are drawn to her and like see the beauty and the power of her. And so there's a necklace that's tumbao, because that's, again, specifically for Black women, for Afro-Latinas. And then there's Afro-Latina, which is really funny because I'll wear this to like events and like Latino like events, which I really don't tend to go to, because like what's the point, truly? It's not a great space for me. But like when I will wear like a negra or like an Afro-Latina necklace, they'll still like question me or like give me like this like stupid ass litmus test of like whatever they're supposed to be measuring about like how Latina I am or whatever.
I mean, you're the same people that also like Latinx doesn't exist. What is that word?
Right. Or like, don't put me in a box. I'm like the cosmic race. I'm like, what are you talking about? First off, all those people were eugenicists.
Okay.
They were all literal white supremacists, but like whatever, y'all don't like to read. Or listen. But anyways, so like those elements are all part of cassava and cane because they're part of me. And I know that it's like feeling left out is a universal experience. Right? Feeling like things are hard, but I need to get through them as a universal experience. And so those are the type of culture, like that's the culture that comes with cassava and cane, and like wanting people to literally wear affirmations around your neck and name yourself and like know that whatever it is that you're walking through it and you're capable of doing it.
Okay, so I don't know if you're listening to this through your phone or your mobile app or whatever, but if you're not, like, I need you to like watch this on YouTube, because just this glare, this spark that's like coming out of your eyes right now. I'm serious. I just love how passionate you are about your brand. It's so beautiful to see, because I mean, you were hesitant about starting in the first place, right?
Yes.
Like, you're
super hesitant. to the point where I product tested for a year.
Yeah. Wow.
And then I was like, are you product testing or are you stalling?
Yeah.
Are you stalling? You're stalling.
Yeah.
Like,
no.
you got all the market research, bitch. Like,
Okay.
just go to market.
But it's been what? Like, has it been a year since
It's been a year and some change.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I mean, just so much has happened within a year. You've been in spaces like Spotify. You've had celebrities wear. Like, talk about that. Like,
Yeah, so I vended at Spotify, which was really cool for their Latino Heritage Month event, and that was really nice. And there was like vendors from all over New York City. And they had a really great like Afro-Brazilian drumming group come in and like do some drumming, and they had someone perform. I'm not trying to be shady. I just do not remember this young man's name.
Okay.
But he performed and people had a really good time. So yeah, I did that. I've done like in-person events, which like, again, introvert, like you know what's so interesting about me is like I'm an introvert, but I love public speaking.
Yeah.
And I love like talking to people. Yeah. But like it's just that, again, it's just I just get drained. Like I need to, like when I go home tonight,
you're gonna like DND.
I'm not gonna talk to nobody so that I could actually talk to my date tomorrow because I can't show up drained.
I know. Look, Gloria's been with me for the past 24 hours. Yes. A lot has happened the last 24 hours. We had a whole networking event yesterday. She was talking to people and everything, and now you're talking to me.
We had like 3 generations in the house this morning. Your dog hates everyone this weekend. Oh my god.
Yeah, so she slept over my house last night, and so my cousin does my makeup. Shout out to Precious. Yes. So for all of my stuff, like my cousin usually always stays over my house. You know, whenever she has to do my makeup, and you know, my cousin single-handedly has been the one that's been reproducing for the family because she's literally. My cousin, but my cousin has 3 kids, and it's so funny because they're I mean the first 2, they're like lively and lots of energy and everything. And I forewarned you. Cute. I was like, hey, my cousin's gonna be over, she'll be with the kids, just let you know, it's typical Latino household. Yes. But yeah, the little ones, like once they like you, they attach themselves to you like leeches, and Gloria experienced that literally from the moment they came into my room this morning. Yes. And then I have my Paw Pew, which is my brother's dog. He's my Paw Pew. Paw Pew? I call him my Paw Pew.
You sound like a southern white person calling their grandpa something.
He's my paw, not my nephew, but my Paw Pew. Okay. And I don't know what's going on with him this weekend. He's mixed with so many different breeds, and one of them is a Chihuahua. And that Chihuahua energy has been loud these last 24 hours. He's been barking nonstop. I don't know what's happening. Like, he got to go to therapy or whatever. I don't know. But he's been on something. So Gloria is, basically, long story short, Gloria is very overly stimulated.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. So, but, you know, thank you. Thank you for rocking off with me these last 24 hours.
Of course. And we lost the question.
So did I.
Okay. So I was answering something, but it's fine.
No. So I like how we both looked at Issa.
I think you were just saying like you're excited to
Spotify celebrity.
All the things that
wearing your necklace. It was the first celebrity wearing your necklace. How you felt.
So one of the customers wore the Negra necklace to the White House. Which is also really cool to like the different places that my necklaces have been. So before I get to this, like the celebrity person who wore them, Gisette, there's this woman, Afro-Venezuelan woman in Spain. Okay. She runs a podcast, Negra Como Yo, which is Black Like Me. And she's worn the necklace. I went out to Spain and like met up with her, and we had a great time.
I didn't know you met with her.
Yeah. And then there's this amazing Afro-Latina who lives in Cuba, and she does farming in Cuba. And she purchased an item, and we had to like find a way to get it shipped to Cuba somehow, but not really to Cuba because you can't ship anything over there. So I don't know what address. I think I mailed it to someone who was going to go visit her, but she was like, I really, really want it. One's been in Qatar with Dash Harris, the founder of Afro Latino Travel. So one of the customers wore her Negra necklace to a White House event. Okay. And at that White House event was Tatiana Ali, who is like the 90s TV princess. She's also Afro-Latina. And she saw the necklace. She was like, oh my God, I love your necklace. And so a customer came back and told me, like, you know, Tatiana like loved your necklace, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, I made a reel and a TikTok, of course. And I was like, please tag her and tell her about like where she can buy this necklace. I was like, Tatiana Ali, Tatiana Ali, Tatiana Ali. Right. I started to feel bad a little bit because I was like, y'all chill. Like, I think she's seen it by now. And then I got an order, there were orders and stuff, and I was filling out orders. And then I got an email that was like, hey, it says the order was delivered, but it never got here. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, like, blah, blah, blah. And then the email was signed Tatiana Ali. And I was like,
Of all people, the order needs to know.
Right, of all people the order doesn't get to. And I was like, what? And she's like, I'm having a photo shoot and I want to wear them in my photo shoot. Could you please like get them to me? And I was like, I did this for you, princess. Like, so I like rushed over to FedEx and was like trying to figure it out. But of course she didn't use her real name when she ordered. Yeah. So that's why I didn't, but I was like, and I didn't know I was talking to her via email, but like, it's a customer. It's someone who's like spent time and energy and money on like my idea. So I'm going to make sure to like respond with respect and care and like, be apologetic that they haven't gotten their order. So she wore it for the launch of her EP, which is on Spotify. Yes. And it was a gorgeous photo shoot. And then she recently wore it at a discussion about Black motherhood and Black maternal health, which is really important to me because that's where my advocacy work and my communications work started was in Black motherhood, Black maternal health. And so it was like super full circle moment. Yeah. So that was really cool. It was super cool.
I'm proud of you. That's all I can say throughout this entire episode. Aww. That's gonna be the name of this episode. I'm proud of Gloria.
Oh, you're so sweet. You're so sweet. I love it.
Seriously, that's amazing. And it's crazy to hear that you were sleeping on this for almost a year.
Yeah.
And just the impact that your pieces is causing. People are seeing your necklaces and you're like, I need it, I want it, like, I have to have it.
Yeah, and the first year was over 100 orders. You cannot find an 100 candle anywhere, which is really annoying. It's like buy the big ass like 100. I was like, I'm not gonna order all that. But anyways, over 100 orders, different countries. Like I was really like the first year was like, let's just see if people actually like this, and they do. And
you're
so,
like, they do like me. They do like me.
You like me. Yeah. So it's really great.
Good. Oh my gosh. Well, I can talk to you for like ever. Definitely will wrap up. But I have I think I'm gonna start doing this. So I have a sign here in the studio, and I think I'm gonna have like random messages in it, and I'm always gonna wrap up each episode with a message. So right now I have money and freedom. It's what it says on the board. What does freedom look like to you?
Oof. Lord.
I mean, we already know what money looks like, so we're gonna talk about freedom. What does freedom look like to you?
Freedom looks like I feel like self-love is cute, right? But like, do you really like yourself?
Oh, that's big because there is people that I love, but I don't like.
Right.
Because like, I feel like, I have to love you. Because, family or whatever.
Or
but
I
I'm like, I don't like you.
Right.
Like, you're not a good person.
Right.
That's
and so for me it was like, yes, I love, and so that's why
self-like.
mindset was really hard for me because I was like, yes, I like myself, like I love myself, like whatever. Oh my God, it's so funny. I know I'm like going off on a tangent, ADHD,
you're good.
but I remember I was talking to my therapist and she's like, well, how are you feeling? And I was like, I don't know, man. Like, there's something going on. She's like, what are you like? I was like, I don't know. I'm like, I'm really like fucking with myself right now. Like, I fuck with myself heavy. And she was like, oh, okay. She's like, it sounds like you're at peace. And I was like, oh, that's what that is. But yeah, like I really had to go through a process of liking myself because I love myself, right? Yeah. Like I've been through things, I've lived through things, I've raised an amazing person, I've reparented myself in amazing ways, but like I didn't always like myself. And so freedom looks like really liking myself, and walking through this world with that love and like for myself, and knowing that freedom allows me to do whatever it is that I want to do, because when I have that, no one can shake it. No one can shake it, and I can continue to do whatever it is that I want to do.
Mind blown. Mic drop. He's going to beat my ass right now. No, wow. No, that's my first time I ever heard that, and I'm definitely going to take that and share that too. So yeah, it's so easy to be self-love, but self-like, you got to really fuck with yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like heavy.
Yeah, I fuck with me heavy.
Yeah.
I really like me. I really like you.
I really like you.
Yeah, and I really like everyone who's listening and watching it, right?
Yes.
So thank you everyone for tuning in to yet another episode of Jefatona. And please make sure, support Gloria. Let people know how can they find you. And your brand too.
Yeah, so they can find my brand online at cassavaandcane.com. Cassava and Cane on Instagram. And then I am not really creative, so I'm Gloria Malone across all socials.
Yeah, my socials literally I am Delilah.
Which is hilarious. Yeah, so Gloria Malone across all socials. And yeah.
Look, tell a friend and tell a friend. Again, thank you for tuning in for yet another episode. Make sure you subscribe, you like, you comment, do all the things.
You
and
share with people.
Share with your fellow Jefatonas. Please
Yes.
let them know. And then also, again, purchase a necklace. She raised an amazing human being, and she got a college tuition she got to pay for now. So
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
So tell all the girls, support the brand, and thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining me. I love and I appreciate you.
Oh, I love and I appreciate you too.
Look at us being all cheesy and gay.
Thank you for tuning into the Jefatona podcast. Make sure you tell a friend and tell a friend. Like, subscribe, and maybe leave a review or two. Until next time, love you. Bye.